Welcome to another episode of Inside CG. My name is Pamorn and Whitney, and this is... Whitney Tuna. Thanks for the full name, Whit. And today we're going to be talking about a couple of little things, picking the brains of ourselves, opening the skulls up. I've got some pretty funny questions from our man Dave behind the camera. He thought they may be interesting, so we thought we'd share them. And...
so basically we're doing like a random bullshit podcast of questions that people really want to know.
Well, not bullshit, but yeah, a little bit random, a little bit about us, our journey as business owners, but also what we think about certain controversial questions that we've been asked. Okay, so
I'll ask you.
Okay.
Do you think muscles matter in a fight?
Muscles matter in a fight to a degree, but more importantly, drills, muscle memory, repetition, conditioning are more important. What are your thoughts, Whitney?
I think amateurs look at someone that's really fit and muscly and go, oh shit, I'm in for a hell of a time.
What you mean aesthetically, so that when they're looking across the ring, they're worried about them?
Yeah. Where like I've had fights against girls that are like, not super athletic looking, that would hit a lot harder than girls that are really built. Not super important, but plays a part.
So yeah, I guess when you look at like when you're starting out and you're competing and your opponent's very muscly, it can be very intimidating. Looks aesthetic wise, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I mean psychologically they may, but performance wise and getting the result in terms of a win in Muay Thai or boxing,
skills number one.
Skills beat
and
muscle.
I find like people with a lot of muscle mass, one of the cons is they gas faster. More oxygen. Can't wait a bit faster. Pros and cons. Yeah.
I still remember there was this fight when I promoted my first show ever. It must have been in 2012. This big, scary Islander Kiwi dude got in there and his opponent came up to his shoulder and he was like a bit of a dad bod. Everyone was like, oh, the Kiwi guy's going to sleep this guy. And then I think it was the first 44 seconds, he got lit up with a hook cross and he got slept by the shorter dad bod guy, and everyone was absolutely shocked.
Yeah, the dad bods. Next question. Times you've almost quit in the ring.
Times I'm always quitting the ring. Well, when you're first starting out, one of the big things is the allure of fighting is very exciting. You want to do it because it's exciting and everyone else is doing it and you want to be a part of it and you're inspired by all these great people before you. And then when you actually get in there at the end of round one, you come back to the break and you probably haven't breathed for a lot of the time. You're very tired, you're fatigued, and because you've been holding your breath and your adrenaline kicks in and kind of weighs you down, you start to question why the hell you're here. And one of my former fighters that I used to coach, train and work with, Chris Watt, actually said to me, there was one point in the fight where he had his forehead cut and the blood was flowing down his face, and he sat there in the stool while I was talking to him trying to stem the bleeding, and he described it as, I just wish that an asteroid would come out of space at this point in time, crash into the earth, and everything would be over. So very extreme version of that.
Yeah.
But
what about yourself?
Yeah, like at the end of round one or two of the fights, you sit there and it's challenging and they're putting it on you and you're like, why the fuck am I here? And then you have to realise it's because I committed and I'm here. So that's probably the closest I've come to. I think the big thing, on a serious note with Muay Thai, that was drilled into me as a youngster and just with the Thai trainers being in Thailand, is that in Muay Thai, the worst thing you can ever do is quit. Because if you quit, you're a coward. And if you ever quit and you become a coward, no one's going to respect you. Yeah. So that was a big thing for me. I was like, never quit, never give up, no matter what. You got to go out there and die on your shit, which is pretty extreme. But I guess you can apply the same principle to everything. Business, relationships, all the rest of it, later in life. What about you?
The ACL fight, so good first round, pretty even. And then first like 10 seconds of round two, popped my ACL and I went back in the corner after that round.
No, wait. Before you go there. So we rewatched.
No, let me just talk.
We rewatched the footage yesterday.
Yeah, I know we did.
You got to tell them how it all went down.
So first 10 seconds of round two, I missed a kick, she leaned back, and I just felt my knee like snap. I looked down and I knew something was wrong. Got back to the corner, what was it, a minute 50 later, and I said, I've got to stop, you've got to pull the fight, I've done my knee. And you're like, no you haven't. Everyone's saying no you haven't. I'm like, it's done. And he's like, just go one more round, just see. So we went round 3, came back, it's definitely done. They put my ankle brace over my knee. I couldn't do anything on that side. And then you're like, fuck it, we've got 2 rounds to go. Just like give her havoc in any way you can. Use your hands, lock on with your clinch. And by that stage I was like, pretty sore, like couldn't defend anything. My face was swollen. There were elbow marks. Like I've got this photo of my face. That is the sorest I've ever been after a fight. And I was like, if I can do this, like Pete gave me this tool, like if you can do this, if you can do another 2 rounds with 1 knee, you can do anything. So it was kind of like Joe was probably being a bit nice by the end, knowing that something wasn't quite right. It was like a turning point.
I think it's one of those things for me as a coach and trainer. Obviously, putting the welfare of a fighter in front of what's important. Like I think we didn't realise the severity of the situation at the time, and that sort of the doctor. Like it's quite hard unless you get a scan to know if you've done your ACL. But rewatching the footage back all these years later, watching Whit miss the push kick and then her literally stop the fight, put her hands down, and look at her knee, it was pretty evident that you knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And as a coach in the corner, for me, it was like, no, we just got to push on. Because I think if we look at the backstory prior to that fight, you'd actually gone on a bit of a tear. You'd destroyed a couple of girls from Queensland. You're on the rise. And, like, to have that happen and to have it stop so suddenly after all the work, it was kind of like, let's just go out there and give it the best shot and die on our shield. But in hindsight, you look back and you actually tore your ACL. And it was actually pretty tough to push on through. So credit to you.
Okay, this is going to be the best. We've got some bangers here. Craziest story as a gym owner?
Which one do we start with? There's been thousands. The craziest story as a gym owner. So there was one time where a guy came in and I don't know what he was wanting to do, but I was actually coaching in the back room here because we were running 2 classes at once. And Whitney said, there's a guy here that's giving me a hard time. He thinks like alcohol. And I'm like, I'm coaching, I can't deal with it right now because I'm class of 20 people. And anyway, I ended up getting fed up because Whit was really kind of shaken up and there was a girls' class going on. And the guy said that he was interested in learning on how to fight. I said, great, this is not the time to come and learn how to fight. And then what happened was I said, look, you're probably going to have to leave and come back when you're sober because I think you're obviously a little bit intoxicated. And then I asked him to go outside so he could politely, leave and come back, to which he then said, I want to learn how to fight. I've fought guys before, and you know what? I should probably just fight you. And then he threw a right hand at me. Luckily, I blocked it in time.
He went out the front, didn't he?
Hey?
He ran out the front after that.
No, he hit me up, grabbed him and held him down, and yeah, that was pretty crazy because everyone came out and then I'm pretty sure they called the police or something, so that's crazy. What about yours?
No, didn't everyone start chasing him?
Yeah, but we don't have that. Yeah, everyone out there. The 40 people in the gym by this stage, by the time I'd been hit and then blocked it and picked him up and held him down, 40 people ran out the front and were just like, I don't know.
What was the seal off?
I remember this guy had been subdued. I had it under control. He dropped his sunnies. One guy, I don't know who it was, walked along and stomped on his sunnies. And I said, that's not necessary. The guy got up and stumbled across the road. Another coach ran and did a push kick on his chest and he went tumbling down the road.
Okay.
So never walk into a martial arts gym again. Yeah.
So we had kids class going?
Yes.
I'm going to say good 20 kids. And the gym has huge windows so you can see outside, they can see inside. We're on a main road. This guy walks over to the window, turns around. In full view at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, traffic gone by. Mums everywhere. Pulls down his pants and goes to take a massive shit. So all the kids are just looking at this guy.
Everyone's looking at you and me about what the fuck we're going to do.
A car crash and you couldn't do anything about it. There's just poo coming out. And then he's realised that we can see him. So he grabs a leaf with his pants.
He ran across the road with his pants around his ankles.
And runs off and then throws the shit and the leaves back at the gym.
Yeah, and then proceeds to walk across incoming traffic, across 4 lanes of traffic across the road. And that was probably one of our craziest stories as a gym owner. There's many more, but where do we start?
Crazy business owner things, decisions, investments?
Well, I'm going to ask you first. What's the craziest thing you ever invested in as a business owner?
So for the first 5 years, I cleaned the gym every day.
How could we forget?
Back in the days of not being able to afford a cleaning lady. And I was like, I've had enough, P. They have these things called Robovacs now, and I reckon if we buy one, we could just like press play, go home, and it'll vacuum clean the entire gym. It's $1,000.
$1,000, and this was going back like nearly 10 years ago.
So we get the thing, set it up, and it doesn't even actually work on the mats.
The mats are too like grippy. And then let's not forget we had the floorboards, which were flat, and then the mats were up like a certain leverage above, had a bit of a lip.
So it didn't even work.
So then the next day I came in and Witt's down the back of the gym with a Stanley knife trying to cut a ramp into the jigsaw mat so that the actual RoboVac could get up the mats, and it was an absolute failure. Unfortunately, one of those things that, good memory to look back and laugh on.
All right, I'll take all the credit for this question. The next one, Pamorn doesn't make crazy business decisions. Only I do. Again, first few years of business had no money. It was Christmas, which is traditionally, like in gym sense, everyone's on suspension, so cash flow is low. And I thought, hey, I'm going to hire a bouncy castle for our party. So I spent like our last like $500 and got this huge blow-up portable bouncy castle for the party. It was a good day though.
I can't remember it, but yeah, it must be that good.
You'd just done your ACL. So
yeah, that's right. So that's why I can't remember it. For me, the craziest thing I've ever invested in is, I would say, made some bad decisions in hiring bad coaches, but I'm not going to go down that route. But, you know, you always make bad decisions as a business owner, I guess, and you only have the stories to tell and the lessons to learn from them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. No, I can't think of one. Everything's crazy when you're running your own business.
BJJ versus Muay Thai, who would win?
BJJ versus Muay Thai, who would win? Are we talking street fight or in the ring?
I don't know.
So, I would believe, in my opinion, if it was a street fight, a lot of fights end up on the ground.
So you say BJJ?
Well, it's good to know a martial art in general, I like to say, but a lot of the time people end up on the floor wrestling each other. And you have things in a pub, there's broken glass, there's stools, there's people. I would say BJJ has probably got a better chance against a Muay Thai fight on the street. In the ring, however, I believe that Muay Thai would probably end up beating a BJJ guy because they can lay down on the floor and then they get low kick. It's not good for them. What do you think, Vic?
I think this is a boy question. Couldn't give a fuck.
Okay, so weirdest. Oh, this is going to be a great one. I think I can predict which one you're going to talk about. But talk about. You wait and see. The weirdest, most awkward moment in the gym for you.
So a lot of people actually don't know that we're married. So boys assume I'm single. Is that what you thought I was going to say?
Nah, that's not the one. I was thinking of the underwear story, but we'll tell that another time.
Oh no. Okay. So, but that was at the old gym. Anyway, so this guy had no idea that me and Pamorn were married, and he was like really friendly, and I was like, yeah, it's just a nice guy. And then one day he like slapped me on the ass and asked me out on a date, and I was literally like, did this just happen? What about yourself?
Most awkward moment in the gym. Actually, you know, there's almost every day as a coach, everything is awkward because you're having to try and break the ice with people, and sometimes people come in. No, I can't think of one, but I'm always like, you know, when you're an introvert, right? You and me are both real introverts, but we had to work on hard on, you know, bringing out the best in people, and you're trying to like, hey, how's your day? And sometimes people give you nothing, and that's awkward, especially when you go out on a limb and try to talk to them, and they're like, ah. But then, I don't know, yeah, I guess there's awkward days every day. I can't think of one particular moment.
Yeah. Have you ever had to use what you learned in the real world?
Yes.
No.
No. Never?
Never.
Yeah, so self-defense situation, I really don't like violence on the street. It's uncontrolled, it's unpredictable, very volatile, very scary. There was one time where a guy came to try and attack me, and it was in high school. I dropped my bag, I said I didn't want to fight, and then I don't know what happened. It's like, you know, the fight or flight situation where you don't know what happened, you just throw something and then it's over.
Yeah.
Throw an elbow, roll down the hill. A whole lot of kids probably remember the story, but kind of diffused the situation very quickly. And looking back, like, never proud of those situations, but at the same time, glad that I kind of knew what to do instead of getting beaten up, which I would have sucked. It was pretty scary.
How did we meet, and is there a funny story? Bow, bow, bow.
Do you want me to tell or you tell?
Yeah, you go.
So I remember walking into the gym after having a couple of years break from fighting and training. I actually went to go live in the wheat belt, had a bit of a break, and I walked back in the gym and remember seeing this blonde girl, ponytail, Muay Thai shorts, all the get up. Still remember the ankle strap she had on, and she's skipping. And like, I'm talking, you know when people are in the zone skipping? No headphones or nothing, but in the zone, just concentrating on skipping. And I remember asking one of the boys, who's that girl over there? He said, that's Whitney. And I said, she's gorgeous. Anyway, he got all funny and was like, oh, but she's got a boyfriend. And I was like, okay. So one day at a party, I just said, hey, you know, like, I really think you're cute, and
This is your version of the story.
I think you need a fighter boyfriend, because you know, that's what I thought back then.
I'm like, what a fucking loser.
Yeah, 100%. And I got turned down again, even though I asked her on a date. Second time, months later, I actually gave her my phone number as a last-ditch effort. And a year later, on my birthday, after having a bit of a piss up, I woke up the next morning to a text message, happy birthday, babe. 2 things out of that. The number that I'd given her on a piece of scrap paper she'd saved, and number 2, she remembered it's my birthday.
Yeah.
So I said, let's go to bubble tea. What's your version of events?
So I joined your dad's gym, and there were no kids at the gym. You guys were all living in the wheat belt, and I'd been there for a year. And then, like, Pon being Pon, mentioned that he had a younger brother. And didn't think about anything. And then you just walked in one day through the gym, and I was like, maybe that's the younger brother. But I was like, but that's a real young brother. And I was not really, like, very knowledgeable on Asian culture and, like, ages and things like that. But he started training a lot, because I think you were thinking about having a comeback fight.
Yeah, it was only 2 years out, or a year or 2 out the ring, yeah. I was going to come back and fight.
Yeah.
Had unfinished
and then you gave
business.
me heaps of free PTs, and I was enjoying that, so I was like, oh, okay. I'll give this a go.
That's right. Yeah, okay. I do remember that.
Um,
How do you woo a woman? You just got to take her on dates. But for you, it was pad holding.
has it changed? Who would win in a fight, and what is it like sparring each
So
other?
Dave's question there is written between you and me if we were to fight.
Yeah, I know you'd win.
No, if we were size for size, same.
You scare me.
I reckon you would win. You're a fucking savage.
No, you're way more technical than me.
Okay. What's it like sparring each other?
Terrible.
Why?
Because you win.
Look, not a lot of people know this because I don't talk about it very much, but I actually have horrible cardio. I don't have a ton of time I train, but what I used to be compared to what I am compared to what I'd like to be, few and far between.
Yeah.
So for me, the less I do to disrupt your rhythm, push, kick, yard, don't let you hit me, the more I annoy you, the less you do to me.
Yeah.
And that's what you actually hate. Yeah. That's my secret. If you've got bad cardio, just annoy your sparring partner flat out.
9 times out of 10, amazing. 1 time out of 10, divorce. We've had
that happen
Paul
before.
John Champion's the only guy that stepped in about 5 times and just like completely broken us up and be like, you sit there, we're here, so you can win. Calm down.
Yeah, we had a couple of blow-ups over time. It's very awkward for the people around us. And yeah, John Champion, absolute legend, has sat us both down very maturely and kind of teacher to students or parents to the 2 kids to sit down and chill out and remember why we're here. So thanks, John.
Final question. Would you make your children learn Muay Thai boxing?
Absolutely. You? Yeah.
No pressure from me. I want Bjorn to do what he wants.
I think for me...
A martial art.
Yeah, 100% martial arts are very important. The virtues of discipline, focus, dedication, focus, confidence is so important.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I relate to myself in the story of being born into a Muay Thai gym, my mum and dad ran the business. My dad was big on, you need to be the best because you're the owner's son. It was one of the worst ways to frame it to a child, because if there's an expectation to do it, usually they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And if I was to say that to Björn, I would be repeating history. For me, I think immersing them in an environment where they can see what it's all about is important.
Yeah.
Controlling them or telling them they have to do something is probably the number one way to get a kid not doing it. And then I think as they show interest, I think for me as a parent, it would then be a case of showing them some things and then explaining how good it would be for them. And hopefully, long term, they are inspired to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But it's up to them. What do you think?
Yeah. if they're around it every day, they're going to want to do it, especially when they see you doing it. So that is hard. So like exposure is big. I just would never want him to do it because we do it. It has to come from you, like with whatever you want to do. But I think 100%, like I'd love to see him BJJ this year. Something, martial arts related.
Tell the viewers who may be wondering why BJJ and why is it important to do something like that? Because it's totally different to what we do.
The long road. So stickability, like able to get back on the horse when you've had a bad day, you've been choked out, you've been tapped out. It's so regular in BJJ. It's like normal, where I find in like sparring, like it's not like that. No one knocks me out during a sparring session. I know when I've had a bad day, but it's that grit you just build through always getting tapped out, choked out, whatever it is. Having mini goals, like the belt system, I think is really good for BJJ. Using their body for a boy, like tactile play. Yeah, wrestling.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think having something that you're being humbled at is important.
Yeah.
So for a young boy who has testosterone and developing, their own sense of awareness and bodily ability, I think it's important because then it's safe. You're tapping out when it sucks. You start again. It's not like to the extreme of getting knocked out and then having to start again because that's quite traumatic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And this applies to adults. I think a lot of people, people call us every single day, I want to be more disciplined. And they come to the gym and they think, I'm going to do more time, I'm going to be disciplined. You get disciplined through showing up when you don't want to come. You get discipline when you are learning techniques that don't come easy, or pushing through classes when you're really unfit. It's not like an instant thing. So it doesn't apply just for kids. It's a big adult thing, and being okay with being uncomfortable every day, I think is a really good skill. And starting from that, like first day thing, being absolutely shit and still having the ability to turn up every day.
It really is so powerful, isn't it? And I think we talked about that the other day about, we talk about discipline and how people want to build that, and resilience is another
And then
thing.
they just shy away from it.
You mean if they just disappear?
Yeah.
It's quite common, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Too common.
So what would be your advice? Because I think it's quite important and powerful to share that sort of knowledge for people, or like a principle when you're starting out and you do start to feel like it is getting challenging or it's getting hard or they're getting frustrated. What would you say to them?
Just remind yourself, like, why did I start? Was this going to be comfortable? When I started riding that bike, was I good? No. Just little steps like that. This is your turning point. Like, look in the mirror and go, how bad do I want to change who I am today to be a better person tomorrow? Stick in there.
Totally. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
It's been a great podcast, and a bit of a random one today. We've got to thank our man Dave behind the camera, who's given us some quite controversial topics, but also some funny stories that we'd like to share with you all.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, there's always funny things that go on, but sometimes people don't get to see that side of things.
Way more.
Plenty more to come in the next couple of episodes.
Camera and footage.
How can people follow you?
Don't. Leave me alone. I'm just not joking.
No, but how do people find you?
Just on Instagram.
What's your handle?
My name, Whitney Tudor.
Yeah, and if you ever want to follow me, it's at Pamorn. We are so glad you tuned in today. Thanks for listening. Make sure you tune in for the next one, and thanks for watching.